So the ante goes up another level as we head into the senior Rotax second chance heat, aka repechage. Here's your starting grid. So Arthur Hosch leads them from pole position. Alongside from the Netherlands will be Kevin Kremers. Sem van Til, Lars van Vark, row 2. Max Stemmerink and Zino Kovac. Row 3, Emily de Hoijs and Jens van der Heyden. Row 4, Nathan Schaefer and Vincent Boutier running at the top 10. Completing the top 20. It's Bendit Sabo, David Lackner, Dodderstein, Arnold Domingo, Justin Polman, Mario Sidler, Robbie Soder, Esther Ellenkamp, Axel Goes, and Louis Jouin. Running at the 29 strong, it's Bennett Arens, Corentin Franchi, Mitch Heinert, Philip Keskik, Sven Rudenberg, Adrien Dobrich, Mats Johan Overhoff, Jericho Kalainen, and Germany's Tim Prinzler. Running at the 29 strong. 10 minutes are set on the timer, plus an additional lap. And if the racing yesterday was anything to go by, there were definitely a lot of smiles on faces, mine included. So for those on the live stream, we are going to be playing some, we did an official press conference with some of the drivers last night, myself and Esmir Osman. So for those watching at home, you'll have an understanding of how the drivers are feeling coming into today. So the red lights will very shortly be illuminated on the starting gantry. There's Arthur Roche. He's pretty much most of the way up the Europelan and now slows. Kevin Kremers to join him. So this is the last chance saloon for these drivers if it was a movie like a Wild Western. The old days of when Clint Eastwood used to be one of those tough guys with a cowboy hat, a pancho and a cigar in his mouth. Well, these drivers are pretty much the modern day equivalent, albeit without the cigar in the mouth, without the pancho, without the cowboy hat on. It's race suits, race helmets and carts underneath them, millimeters off of the ground. This is going to be tricky in these difficult conditions. It is still a wet race meeting. So top 10, Arthur Hosch, Kevin Kremers, Sem van Til, Lars van Vark, Max Stemmerink, Zino Kovac, Emily de Hoijs, Jens van der Heyden, Nathan Schaefer and Vincent Boutier as they now round the 12th and final corner. Okay, the drivers split. They head into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? Second chance heat is off and away. And we are racing as Arthur Roche gets a bit snaky under braking going into turn number 1. And as a result of that, Sem van Til gets through. And Jens van der Heyden's round on the outside. He's backwards going through turn number 2. Disaster for the Dutchman. As Nathan Schaefer has literally catapulted his way through the field. I don't think he had a catapult on the back of that CRG, did he? And he's gone very, very wide, round the outside of turn 6. Lots of drivers are doing that, but it's helping with regards to the traction. And Nathan Schaefer fancies an opportunity because in front he's got the 368 of Hungary's Zeno Kovac as they all filter their way through turn 7 off the Europelan for the first time. And that was close coming through the exit of turn number 7. A bit of wrestling with the steering wheel, one of which was Emily de Hoijs. And currently she sits in what is 6th position. And right up her back bumper, she's got probably the likes of Nathan Schaefer. Well, I think Lars van Vark is there as well. Lars van Vark was running P4. But at the moment, the way things stand, who is leading the way? It is the 309 of the Netherlands, Max Stemmerink. Mechanics on the gantry there, just giving the instructions to the drivers. Stemmerink leads. Kremers in second. Van Til, Van Vark. Then it's also Arthur Hosch, and it's all a bit of scrabbling for traction. Carts left, right, and centre. And Arthur Hosch, hits the curves through turn 3 and spins the cart around. And that has provided disaster for the Frenchman. And it's all very much keeping yourselves calm, cool, collected all the way through this race. Dodderstein up the inside of Emily de Hoijs. Zeno Kovac trying to get through in the 6:28, and Nathan Schaefer trying to go around the outside, coming out of turn number 7 and into turn 8. That's not at all surprising. He's trying to go around the outside of Zeno Kovac, takes the wide line through turn 9. He's going to boot the throttle any second now and get a good amount of traction. Looks to the inside of turn 10. Well, Zeno Kovac and Emily de Hoys have already shut the door firmly. As we'll turn around now, and Mats-Johan Overhoff. And it seems to be sympathy spinning at the moment. 6:27, Louis Juin. I think I caught the 6:20 of Jere Kokalainen also having a little bit of a moment there too. As who is that sideways out of the final corner? That is alongside Arthur Horsch, as now the lead goes to Lars van Vark from the Netherlands. He's past Max Stebbing going through turn number 2. Emily de Hoys is in 6th position at the moment, from my recollection, as they all make their way through turns 3, 4 and 5. And it's the battle of the Dutchman at the front of the field. Stebbing runs a little bit wide. Van Vark looking to go up the inside, but Stebbing puts the hammer down, and the rear tyres bite rather rapidly and catapults him to the end of the Europalan. As all dramas there, 6:56 and 3:04. That is Sem van Til and Beer Dodderstein. They all had to go on the runoff area off of turn number 7, and Zeno Kovac has just been passed by Nathan Schaefer. Schaefer is fighting for the lifeline right now. As that was a bit of a wiggle and a half from Sem van Til, who's got Zeno Kovac to the outside of turn number 10. 6.5 minutes to go, and we have a 3-second time penalty coming through for the 6:44 of Robbie Stordeur, who broke the formation with 2 wheels out of the tram lines on the race start. 6:48, Emily de Hoys is actually running without, is actually being timed manually. So at the moment, she is currently in 5th position. Nathan Schaefer, ladies and gentlemen, started in 9th. He's now currently in what is, I think, P6. Vincent Bouteille is trying to close in on them. Beer Dodderstein rounds out the top 4. The top 6 are provisional, pending what happens here. As de Hoys goes on the defensive in front of Nathan Schaefer. And the biggest thing with the top 6 is that where you finish in the top 6 is where you end up in the bottom 6 for the pre-final, as Emily de Hoys hanging on to that place with like literally a finger and a thumb on a fine piece of twine, and it's that close to breaking. But at the moment, she's doing a great job fending off Nathan Schaefer as they go through turn 10. Schaefer round to the outside of turn 11. Won't get through there, I'm afraid. Can he get the switch back? Looks to the outside of turn 12. De Hoys goes defensive. And leading the way in the second chance heat, Lars van Vark crosses the line to complete lap number 3. Max Stemmerdink, Kevin Kramer, Beer Dodderstein, Emily de Hoys and Nathan Schaefer are your top 6 at the moment. And Schaefer round to the outside. He got past de Hoys, and there is Bouteille. Round, passed up the inside of the pair of them, but Nathan Schaefer, with the most almighty of switchbacks, gets past the pair of them, as de Hoys is now in 7th and has got Zeno Kovac closing in on the 6:48 from the Netherlands. And still, well, the cloud cover has, the breeze has brought the cloud cover again over the circuit. But there is still a little bit of sunlight trying to break through those clouds. And Emily de Hoys loses another position, this time to Zeno Kovac, who is also fighting to get into the top 6. Well, as far as I'm aware, I think all 29 drivers are pretty much running. I think probably apart from Philip Keskik from Germany, who is showing as a lap down off of the leaders. Van Vark crosses the line with just under 4 minutes to go, and that's the completion of lap number 5. So the good thing is that at the end of the day, there's a move from Emily de Hoys up the inside of Zeno Kovac. She retakes 7th position, and then Kovac up the inside with the assistance of the curbs through turn 3. Gets him back past, and de Hoys fast running out of time. We've got just over 3 minutes and 20 still to go in this race, plus an additional lap as Nathan Schaefer. Okay, so that's Philip Keskik they've just managed to get past. So Keskik has decided, well, I'll still circulate. However, I'm going to have to keep out of everyone's way. So the Germans' race weekend will come to its conclusion in just a few moments' time. But now there is Nathan Chafer. He's done a very good job as the Brit, running on the CRG chassis. So this puts him in a prime position to get into the pre-final. Vincent Bouthier is in the danger zone because behind you can see Zino Kovac and Emily de Hoys. There's Sam Van Thiel, who was in the top 6, as Kovac again keeps in front, but Bouthier ahead of Chafer. And look at the audacity! Nathan Chafer using the divot on the inside of the curve to hook it up through turn 3, rotate the car, and all of a sudden, there he goes. Well, that was through turn 2, but it gave him the run for turn 3 as well. De Hoys now wrestling with the steering wheel. Looks over her right shoulder. Kovac still ahead. Just over 2 minutes to go. And the top 6 at the minute, Lars van Vark leading the way. Kevin Kremers, Max Stemmerding, Peer Dorrestein. Top 4 are all Dutch. And then we've got a Brit and a British and a French driver rounding out the top 6. So Van Vark was at the sharp end of the grid. It was really good to see that Dutchman back here at Karting Gang, because it is side by side a little bit further up the order, and that is between Max Stemmerding and Beard Dodderstein. That is for P3 as the sunshine again breaks through the clouds off of turn number 7, and that's going to provide a different visibility issue for these drivers. It's going to be glare as Dodderstein and Stemmerding go through into turn 2. Dodderstein gets through, and now Kovac is closing in on Bouthier. That's for 6th position. When he gets through, the Hungarian forces the issue, gets through via turn 3 and then into 4. 60 seconds on the clock. And I think one of the things that Emily de Hoys can do is just keep herself within proximity. So if the 2 in front tangle, then she's got a lifeline going into the pre-final. But Bouthier now loses out to Kovac, who now is in 6th place. 40 seconds on the clock remains. And it has sort of stabilised somewhat at the sharper end of this field. Mitch Haynett, unfortunately, has retired as of lap number 4. There is Beard Dodderstein and Max Stemmerding rounding out the top 4 positions. Vincent Bouthier is in what is now going to be 7th position. There's Emily de Hoys. There's you've got the likes of Artur Hosch, who's been on the comeback trail all the way through the race. But if the Frenchman had a couple of more moments in the pocket, then that could have been possible. But the timer strikes 0 now. That is it. 10 minutes are up. Next time around, we will get the final lap board for these drivers. Sam Van Thiel and Artur Hosch go side by side, and Sam Van Thiel up the inside of the French driver through turn number 4. Tim Prinzler started down in 29th position, now up into 20th. And Nathan Chafer coming under fire from Zino Kovac as they go through turn number 8, but the leader now making his way. As Lars van Vark through into turn number 10, now through turn 11. So the last lap board is being shown to Lars van Vark. So last lap board is out. Van Vark leads by 3.9 seconds. Ahead of Kevin Kremers, Beard Dodderstein, Max Stemmerding, Nathan Chafer and Zino Kovac. The latter 2 battling away over what is 5th position as Kovac again using that curbing. And he's got past Chafer, but Chafer just knows that if he stays away from the French driver behind Vincent Bouthier, he's got a shot at being in the pre-final. He's done a nice little move there as Kovac goes sideways out of turn number 6 and Chafer puts the hammer down. Comes out of the corner at turn 6 and fires it down the Europolan. As Lars van Vark makes his way through into turn 10 for the 10th and final time in the Senior Rotax second chance heat here at Karting Genk. So the checkered flag now being prepared, and it will wave as Lars van Vark from the Netherlands in the 629 takes the checkered and wins the second chance heat, progressing to the final stages of the Golden Trophy. Kevin Kramer's second, Beard Dorrestein in third, Max Demmelink fourth, Nathan Schaefer from the United Kingdom takes P5 ahead of Zino Kovac. So a very, very tricky track to drive around here. Mario Sidler finishes in 13th. I did notice that his front bumper was flailing a little bit, so it hasn't been easy for these drivers, especially when things got rather up close, personal, and there was incidents and accidents in the first opening minute or so of the race. But full course yellows now employed here at Karting Genk, as that is it for the Senior Rotax second chance heat with your winner, Lars van Vark, coming back from a disastrous end to the day, a mechanical failure through a broken chain on the kart, as he makes his way through into Parc Fermé and scrutineering. So Lars van Vark takes the win ahead of Kevin Kramer's, Beard Dorrestein and Max Demmelink. Top four in that were from the Netherlands. Nathan Schaefer from the United Kingdom progresses onto the pre-final and final stages of this event ahead of Hungary's Zino Kovac. So unfortunately at the moment, provisionally speaking, we have to say goodbye to Vincent Bouteille, Emily de Hoys, Bennett Szabo, Artur Horsch, Sam Van Thiel, Justin Polman, Mario Sidler, Arnold Domingo, Bennett Arends, who rounds out the top 15, ahead of Corentin Franchi, Zen Rudenberg, Axel Goes, Jens van der Heyden, Tim Prinzler, Lester Ellenkamp, David Lackner, Louis Juin, Mats Johan Overhoff, Jericho Kalainen, Adrien Dobrich, Robbie Stoddard, Philip Keskik, and Mitch Haynert.